Hey guys, welcome to the RAMZPAUL show. It is Friday the 13th. I hope it was an unlucky day for you. It was a pretty good day for me. It was a beautiful day outside. Spring is coming here. It's so great to have you guys here. I've been doing streams every night now because of the Iranian war, because it's just been a lot of stuff to talk about. This show is, feel free to interact if you have questions. Power chat, already got one power chat. Thank you from Robert. Thank you, Robert. That's one way to do it. Another way is YouTube has SuperChats and Rumble has Rants. And let me just do a couple houseworking things, making sure I got everything set up correctly. And I want to say hi to the Rumble people. Rumble is going good. And let me see if X is going good, because X previously had some issue. I think they've resolved that issue. So I'm going to pin this to my profile. So welcome people on YouTube, Rumble, and on X. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover here. Let me just do a couple of things I haven't done for a while. If you do want to write me in real life, and I do love getting letters. And I got this really good book I'm reading. Maybe I'll just Sarah Wallace sent this to me, The Upright and the Wicked. I met her in real life, a really good lady. And I think this is her first novel. It's a science fiction, or it's like a fantasy, it's fiction, Christian overtones. And, usually when you get, I get a book from someone, I'm like, oh God, it's going to kind of suck. But Sarah's actually a really good writer. And I'm going through the book. So thank you, Sarah. But I have people send me books and send me a lot of different things. So I do appreciate that. I really do. And again, the P.O. Box again is P.O. Box, Paul Ramsey, P.O. Box 8093, Fayetteville, Arkansas, 72703. Even though I don't live in Fayetteville, that's where I get my P.O. mail. I'm a ways out from Fayetteville. I'm in the sticks. I'm in the country. All right, a lot of stuff happening since I actually prepped for the video. The markets closed on a Friday night, and that's when Trump likes to get into mischief because he wants time for the markets to settle down. And holy goodness, he did something that was interesting. And let me just bring this up here. This is Karg, the President Trump. We attacked is called Karg Island. And I've heard of this island before we attacked it, actually. People were talking about the strategy. And this is an island. It's a very small island. I don't know if it's like 2 or 3 miles wide. It's barely off the coast of Iran. And it is used primarily for oil distribution. In fact, as you see here in this graphic, 80 to 90% of Iran's crude oil exports pass through this island. So they take their oil and they take it to this island and they ship it out out of the Persian Gulf through the Hormuz Strait, and it goes to market. And they sell their oil to Iran is very sanctioned, but they sell oil like to China and stuff. And oil is fungible pretty much. So the more oil you have on the market, it lowers the price. If there's less oil, it increases the price, supply and demand. So what's going to happen here? This was always interesting because it's a way to hurt Iran because they can't export oil now easily. But this really escalates everything on many levels. The first level, and this is why Trump announced this after the markets closed, is oil. This is going to mean a couple of reasons. First of all, Iran won't be able to get their oil through very easily now, and that's going to put pressure on China because they get a lot of oil from Iran. So China will have to get it from another country on the market. But it'll mean less oil. And when you have less oil and the same demand, what happens? You get higher prices. So this probably is really going to spike up the price of oil, which it will increase inflation, how much you pay at the pump, It's just going to be crazy. So it's just that. But it's more than that, because Iran now has no incentive not to attack oil refineries all across the place. So this could really escalate very bad at the global markets. And Iran will hit tankers, as this guy said. This is definitely a escalation strategy that, if you noticed, Trump and the American military did not attack this island initially, because the idea was they didn't want an energy war. They wanted a quick war where they decapitated the leadership in Iran, and the people would rise up, and there'll be a government that would be favorable to Israel. That was the whole idea of the initial attack. That failed, and now we're getting into this quagmire of how the hell do we get out of this? So this island, it didn't really have any military value, no military troops, but again, it was the oil place. There's talk that Trump will send ground troops, the Marines, to try to secure this island. That will be a very dangerous mission because, again, this island is very close to the shoreline, and Iran would be able to hit that island with artillery, drones, and missiles. And there's not much cover on that island, and it'd be very difficult to defend. It'd be like a turkey shoot. If you put troops there, they would be in extreme harm's way. Of course, Barron won't be there, but other kids will be there. So this could be a disaster for casualties if Trump does decide to send in troops to try to take this island. There's kind of a similar thing happened during the Ukraine war. That war's still going. Remember Ukraine versus Russia? Remember Snake Island? I love the name of that island, Snake Island. I don't know if you want. It's not a good way to advertise an island, Snake Island. I don't know if there's a lot of snakes there or what. But initially, the Russians took Snake Island, and then they had to evacuate because, okay, they took it, but there was nowhere to hide, and the Ukrainians were constantly able to bombard it with the artillery we gave them. So they left the island. And I think the Ukrainians took it back, but now they're getting bombed on it. So it's risky to put troops on such a small island. But the big takeaway, we're going to see much higher oil prices now. This is a huge escalation. And this shows that Trump has no quick war strategy to be able to win this war. And so that just happened a couple hours ago. Another thing we got following that, because you remember Trump initially was hoping this would be a quick weekend war. He attacked on Saturday, was hopeful that it'd be all wrapped up by Monday at the markets a couple of weeks ago. That didn't happen. Then he said, well, it'll be 3 or 4 days. Then they said 2 weeks. Then they said 4 weeks. And then they said maybe September, but and then Trump said, well, we already won. They surrendered. It didn't make any sense, but he said that. And then he said that war ends whenever he wants it to. And then supposedly he told Israel yesterday he wants the war wrapped up in a week. So who knows? It's going back and forth. And he keeps telling people it's going to be a short war, but it's not really a war. It's excursion. It's an excursion. And so it's a big fucking mess he's got us into now. But now he announced that there's no breaking. Trump says Iran war will last a very long time. So our short war is pretty well gone. Trump is trying to go for the long war now because the Iranian regime looks very stable. And despite the propaganda, they still have a lot of missiles, lots of missiles and drones. Now, it's true. I mean, we like to tout that we wiped out their Navy, but most of their Navy, the Iranians, they approach this in a different way. It's almost from a 21st century way. They understood they couldn't compete with our Navy. And they had a couple old frigates that we sunk, big deal. Mostly their Navy, they have hidden is just speedboats with, like a 50 caliber machine gun and some anti-ship missiles on them. That's how they run their little Navy, if you call it. And they don't have much of an Air Force, but instead of airplanes, they use drones and they use missiles. So that's what they focus on. And these missiles and drones, they produce underground and they keep them hidden underground. So it's very difficult to wipe them out. And that's why even tonight, Tel Aviv is getting pounded again. The Gulf states are getting pounded. So despite Trump and Pete Hegseth saying, oh, all is well, we're kicking their ass, they're totally destroyed, they just keep attacking every night, which shows our government's not telling the truth. And eventually, as would happen with Vietnam, you get what they call a crisis in confidence, that people start not believing the government. And we're getting to that point pretty quickly. I mean, I haven't believed this government in a long while. I reached that point long ago, but normies are pretty soon not going to believe the government or the administration. Let's take your like typical Fox News person, boomer that believes what they say, and they see Trump and Hegseth said we won the war, it's going to be over in a week, and then it keeps dragging on. Oil prices keep going up. We keep taking casualties. Even those dumb fucks will start to think, well, wait a minute, this isn't adding up. And that's very similar to what happened in Vietnam. Is Johnson, LBJ, got in a spiral. He had to escalate. So sometimes you have two options. You can pull away, which would have been the smart thing to do in Vietnam, or escalate. But LBJ didn't want to lose face, so he escalated. We're going to break their backs. We're going to break their spirit. And so they upped the bombing, massive bombing in Vietnam. It sound familiar? That's the strategy Trump is taking. He's getting frustrated, so he's escalating. And the attack on that island, Karg Island, is a big form of escalation. Because again, the Iranian oil is not going to be able to get to the market, to countries like China. And again, China is kind of allies with Iran, so they can't be very happy about that. So China will have to buy oil like from Russia or whatever, but that oil now, the price is going to be up because there's less oil on the market. Plus, I assume the Iranians are going to say, okay, you want to play that game? Okay, you want to play that game, United States? We'll start taking out oil refineries. And I just saw, because I've been wondering where the Houthis were in all this. I always think of them as the sand people in Star Wars. They're not as sophisticated as Iranians. The Iranians are Persians, like white people. Houthis are Arabs, but they're brave, but they run around in the sandals in the desert. But I mean, they do a lot of damage, though, for what they are. And they are on the other side, and they're talking about now closing the Red Sea. And so that would really fuck things up. Because you remember they were attacking ships in the Red Sea last year because of Gaza when Israel was doing their little genocide. The Houthis started to attack ships, and we sent our ships there, and we couldn't really do much. Sent some Tomahawk missiles at their tents or whatever. But they could be back into business. So that is what's happening there. And let's see here. Breaking news here. This just happened tonight. 5 U.S. refueling planes were struck and damaged at the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. So again, Iran, despite what Trump and Pete Hegseth is saying, they are launching effective missile strikes, and they took out 5 refueling planes. And this doesn't count the plane yesterday, a refueling plane that the Iraqi militia shot down, killing all 5 crew members. Sadly, all of them were killed. So the death toll of this excursion, it doesn't sound like a fun excursion, right? Excursions are like you're on a cruise. I think I've never been on a cruise, but hey, we're on a cruise. We're going to do a day excursion to, I don't know, Puerto Rico or Jamaica. This doesn't sound like a fun excursion. This sounds like a war to me, but I guess it's not a war, but this is where we are right now. And the attack on Karg Island makes sense based on this story here. This was developing during the day about Marines. Marines are going to be now sent to the Middle East. It started at 2,500 Marines, and then later in the day, they upped it to 5,000. Obviously, 5,000 Marines are not enough people to defeat Iran with a 1 million-man army. But so I'm like, what they're doing there? What are they going over for? Now I think I understand. I think the goal is we're going to try to take Karg Island. And I feel sorry for these Marines because they're going to get plastered on that island. There's nowhere to hide. But I think that's Donald Trump's idea. So just again, the parallels to Vietnam are amazing. Johnson originally we had special forces and advisors in Vietnam under Kennedy. Actually, I think it started under Eisenhower, but then there wasn't many. And then Kennedy had some, but then it escalated under LBJ, and he sent Marines over, like Trump is doing now. So we're playing this we're getting the band together and running this back. We're doing this again. So I guess we're going to do another Vietnam type of war here, where we're fighting a war without a really defined strategy and thinking, well, if we drop enough bombs, maybe something good will happen. And we'll send Marines in to do, I don't know, stand on the island. I'm guessing that's where they're going to go. And so that is what is happening here. And I'm not the only one to bring up the whole Vietnam parallel. Here's a guy that I thought had a good take on that. So let's listen to him.
Understand that we're for so as this thing unfolds, we need to understand that we're really have touched off the escalation trap in a way, and the biggest problem is that President Trump just is losing control, and he's going to try to get the control back. But so too did Lyndon Johnson.
I was going to say, that's the LBJ trap. We can call it that.
It's the LBJ trap. It's the same. This is the same. LBJ didn't think he was going to lose. I guarantee you didn't wake up one day and say, oh, yeah, how can I actually become probably the worst president in history, and then beg for other presidents to come in like Jimmy Carter or so forth to bail him out. I mean, this is really, they don't wait.
Yeah, LBJ was really hated. In fact, he didn't run for the next term.
Up that way, I guarantee you. Yeah. What they're waking up is
I'm old, but I'm not old enough to remember him. The first president I remember as a kid was Nixon. I was alive when LBJ was around president, but I was just a little kid, so I was real little. I wasn't even in kindergarten, so I don't remember him.
They're I think mesmerized by this illusion of control of escalation. And you even hear President Trump saying, when will Iran reach the breaking point? That was exactly the rhetoric of LBJ.
Yeah, it was just amazing. They kept in Vietnam. Wow, the North Vietnam, they're going to reach the breaking point anytime now. We just have to drop some more bombs. That was, hang on, people. We're there. We're winning.
How can we break the back of the North Vietnamese? And that search for the breaking point. There's actually articles with those titles. The search for the breaking point, you see. And that language, I mean, I don't think Trump probably went back to the speeches of LBJ. This is the reality of the frameworks. The frameworks force this, you see. And so that's why those frameworks matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been saying this, and other people are saying this that are older that can remember history. A very similar thing. Hey, I'm going to do my power chat I got before the show started. This was Robert. All right, let me take a look at this. I'm just checking to make sure I didn't want to accidentally make sure I'm on mute. All right, here it is. I just copied and pasted it. Is it safe to say, in your view now, that Trump is the worst president we've ever had in the history of the United States? The damage he's causing us all, the 180-degree lie from what he ran on to what he is doing. Well, yeah, I don't know. I always hated Lincoln, but Lincoln was over 500,000 Americans killed, but Trump in modern terms is the worst. And I will explain why. Is because he betrayed his base. You could say Bush did the same thing. George W. Read my lips, no new taxes. George Bush said that, and he finked on his base. But this is a lot worse. Trump has now finked on mass immigration, and he's finked on no new wars in the Middle East. And it's been really pathetic. And add to that, Trump seems kind of unstable now. And I'm not saying that loosely. I know Trump was always kind of funny and didn't have much of a filter. And that was one of the reasons people kind of loved him or hated him. He didn't have a lot of gravitas. He's a showman. I get that. But when you get in a serious situation, I would rather have a more serious man than a guy that is just seems unhinged all the time. And that's the way Trump is seen right now. He doesn't seem very much in control. He has schizoid truth social posts every morning that don't make a lot of sense. He seems isolated from reality. He surrounded himself with neocons. Used to, he had people like on our side that would give him some good advice. I guess he had like Tulsi Gabbard and JD Vance. And we'll go over this, but it looked like he rejected JD Vance because JD Vance reportedly wasn't a big fan of this war, but Trump went ahead anyway. But he's mostly surrounded by people like Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, the worst of the worst type of people, Rubio, Pete Hegseth. And Pete Hegseth is just stupid as fuck. I think he picked Pete Hegseth because he looks the part. He's kind of funny. He looks like a square jaw. I'm not going to take any shit. But then you hear him talking, you're like, oh, this guy's he's just a moron. So, yeah, I think that's it. So I would say right now, because of his betrayal, he is one of the worst here. And I got a couple other super chats. Hope you guys are having a good Friday night. I'm having a margarita in a can. All right. Necro Dancer 555. If we're a bird, where would you fly? Sorry, dumb question. If you were a suicide drone, where would you fly? I'm not going to answer that. I get in trouble. Yeah, there's a. Speaking of which, have you seen? Totally unrelated. Have you seen? There's been rumors that Netanyahu was killed by the Iranians in a missile attack. I don't know if that's true. It's weird. Israel put out a statement by Netanyahu on film, but it was AI. You could tell because he had 6 fingers. For some reason, AI has a hell of a time with fingers, and it had 6 fingers on him. So I don't know. That's just a rumor. I don't know if it's true, so I'm not going to report it as true. Just throwing rumors out there. And I'm sure we would all be sad if he was gone. It'd be like Aryan dwarves in the mountains with magic missiles. We can't even hope they don't summon the Balrog. Yeah, dwarves are pretty cool. I've always liked them. They're sturdy creatures in the mountains, and I do like them. Necro Dancer, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? I think I like chocolate the best. I do like a good chocolate. Sometimes vanilla if I'm in the mood. End of the petrodollar incoming, get assets. Long term, this could happen. I don't know short term, just because so many countries are in the dollar. It's not like they can change it like that, right? So it's not going to happen like in a year, but decades. Yeah, this could happen. And if you guys don't know what Carl 9X is talking about, I've talked about this before. We're on what's called the petrodollar. And what that means is our dollar is tied to oil. And this happened in 1973. Before 1973, our dollar was tied to gold, like in Fort Knox. I don't think we have gold there anymore, by the way. Whatever happened, we're supposed to audit Fort Knox. That was another one of Trump's promises that never happened. But that's what it was, right? We were tied to gold, but it kind of constrained how much we could spend based on taxes and stuff. And so we went to a new standard based on oil and how the gig works. And this happened in 1973, I believe, under Nixon and Kissinger. Kissinger was a Jewish guy with actually smart. They were smarter back then. And he went to the Saudi Arabia and the head of OPEC and said, hey, okay, here's the deal. We want you to just sell your oil to all nations in dollars. And in exchange, we will protect you, right? We'll provide American defense because a lot of these countries are very small, like Saudi Arabia. They don't have a big population. It's mostly desert, right? That's all it really is, desert and camels. And Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait. I mean, there's no one there hardly, right? There's nothing there, sand. And so they couldn't really defend themselves against the bigger players like this back then, Iraq or Syria or Israel or whatever. And so the United States made a deal with these countries like, okay, you just sell in dollars and we will provide you protection. And that's worked for decades, since 1973. probably more than most of you been alive. That has worked pretty well. And the sheiks and everything, they liked it. They got rich. They were able to go to Vegas and drink and get prostitutes and all that. They're kind of hypocritical. But they had a mass fortune, and we would provide them security. But this war has shown that we're unable to provide them security because Iran is attacking them. And Saudi Arabia was just attacked, our base there, and 5 airplanes were destroyed, the refueling airplanes by Iran. And we are lacking Patriot interceptors. And even if we had the interceptors, the Patriot interceptors are meant for more slow-moving missiles and drones, like under Mach 5. And Iran's got more advanced missiles that are really fast. In fact, they have hypersonic missiles that are almost impossible to shoot down. And so the Gulf states are like, what the fuck, America? What the fuck? And because it's worse than that, just our base is getting hit in their territory. Now they risk their oil refineries being attacked by Iran. And it will really happen now that we bomb Karg Island. So that would probably happen. And then they're like, well, wait a minute. We can't get our oil through the Straits of Hormuz. And that's how we make our money. We sell our oil to places like India and Japan, Philippines, all over the world, right? They sell this oil. And they got to go through the Strait of Hormuz. And they're like, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to get money for blonde hookers if we can't sell our oil because it's backed up? What the fuck, America? You promised us. What the fuck? And so they're really mad. And then even worse for them, the other way, they sell oil and they get food because they can't grow anything because it's a desert, right? And so now they're in Dubai and all that, all the tourism, it's all screwed. And they're really mad. And they're mad at Trump, and they're letting the United States know. And as I showed yesterday, there's reports they're putting out feelers to other countries to maybe they should get an alliance with another country. And Iran is being smart because they're telling these countries, hey, we're happy for you to ship your oil, and you can do that tomorrow if you just decide to kick the U.S. out of your country. If you do that, you kick their bases out, and you're welcome to use the Strait of Hormuz. You can ship the oil, and the money will come in, and the food will come in, and it'd be the good old days again. And a lot of these Gulf states are probably thinking about this really closely now. It depends what happens. And so part of the reason to open the Straits of Hormuz quickly, this is what's putting pressure on the Trump administration, which they never imagined this would happen. They're clueless. Is not only will oil prices go up, but they'll lose control potentially of the Gulf states. And that could be long-term damaging to the petrodollar, which allows us to spend more money than we take in taxes because all these other countries have to buy dollars so they can buy oil. That's kind of how it works. So we're living through like the Dune novel, right? The Dune novel. The Iranians were like the Fremen, and they're the sand people, and the Houthis. And we're the empire, and the oil is, in Dune was spice. And so it's causing problems here. So it's pretty interesting how that is happening there. Good question or good observation. I do appreciate that. All right. To see here. Frankfurt sauces. Thoughts on Trump telling Jake Paul that the U.S. is at war with Iran for LGBTQ people. Yeah, it just goes on. It just goes on, the betrayals. I saw that. If you guys don't know, his first interview he did was this joker named Jake Paul. And he said, oh, yeah, we're fighting. One of the reasons we're fighting for our precious homosexuals, and our women. And like I said, I don't see this. Nick Fuentes did bring up a good point the other day. And I don't see this as a war between America and Iran. This is a war with the Epstein class, let's just call them that, versus Iran. This has nothing to do with America. And it's Israel all the way. And it's hard for me to root for the Epstein class to do their bullshit. I don't want to see our boys killed, like those Marines or anything like that. But I am not a big fan of what's happening right now. K Max McDonald, Rams, your view of Loomer now. After having you on your show before, yeah, Lord Loomer was on my show. She is now unrecognizable. Yeah, it's called bad plastic surgery. All she ever does is attack Tucker Carlson. Yeah, Laura Loomer, bless her heart, is a mentally ill grifter. And I don't mean that meanly, but when we, in the glory days of 2016, 17, remember those days, 15, 16, 17? It was a fun time. There wasn't as much censorship. And oh my God, we have so many goofy people running around. Ethan Ralph, Baked Alaska, Matt Heinbach, Richard Spencer. It was a clown show, but it was entertaining. And Laura Loomer was in the midst of it. She claims to be Jewish. I think she is. I don't even know. Milo says she really isn't. But she was like all, into all like these Nazis. She had like a fetish for Nazis trying to be interested in her. She's a strange girl mentally. And I think she found her big grift because she caught Donald Trump's eye. Supposedly he calls her. So now she considers herself trying to keep him on the reservation with Israel. It's funny that he would take advice from her. Like I joked, and no disrespect to Ethan Ralph or Baked Alaska or something, but it'd be like if Trump decided to take advice from them. Actually, they'd give better advice than Laura Loomer. Yeah, she turned out to be a kind of a odd one, that's for sure. She was always odd. I just never thought she'd get to the point where people would take her seriously. This is where we are as a nation, where the president of the United States is calling Laura Loomer. I mean, good God. It's scary to think about that, really. You can only laugh. All right, so that happened there. Okay. Now, another thing that's happened is we're kind of standing alone here. Not only are the Gulf states upset, is Italy starting, other nations are breaking. Here's Italy. I don't speak Italian, but I like the language, so we're going to listen to this.
Sono sempre più spaventose e si moltiplicano gli interventi unilaterali condotti fuori dal perimetro del diritto internazionale, che dobbiamo collocare anche l'intervento americano e israeliano contro il regime iraniano. Un intervento a cui, lo dico subito, a scanso di ogni equivoco, l'Italia non prende parte e non intende prendere parte.
It's weird. I almost understand a little bit of that because I took Spanish. It's kind of similar to Spanish. But what she said is that Italy officially announces this withdrawal from the American-led adventure in the Middle East. Meloni told the Senate, Italy's not part of the war in the Middle East and will not participate in the war against Iran. They're probably worried about oil, and they want to do a deal with Iran so they can get oil. So it's not like in 2003 where we had this big coalition of the willing. And I'm not a big fan of the UN, but in 2003, we went to the UN, provided fake evidence. You remember Colin Powell? See, here's evidence. Oh, remember Colin Powell? He died during COVID. He died of COVID and stage 4 cancer. But anyway, they have weapons of mass destruction. They didn't, but anyway, we went to the Security Council and we had a lot of UN buy-in for that war. And we had the coalition of the willing, or whatever they called it back then. You had UK fight, Turkey. I think Italy was part of it. But we have like no one on our side with this little adventure. And so that's it. Carrie Cox, $10 on Rant. Thank you, Carrie. Destroying Iran was the plan ever since certain donors lined up for Trump. Yeah, this was Israel's prime goal. It's been their goal for decades, since 79, really. Netanyahu's been pushing this for 40 years. Oh, they're going to get nuclear weapons in 2 weeks. He's literally been saying that for 40 years. In fact, there's videos of him doing that. They convinced Trump that Iran was trying to kill him. Yeah, that is how Trump is mentally off. Iran had nothing to do with those guys that were trying to assassinate him. The Kushner-Witkoff negotiations were fake news thought. Yeah. Those negotiations, it was a shameful period in American history. This is a shameful period. The negotiations were not real. were just a ruse to try to fool the Iranians so we could get them all together and kill them. A very, very dishonorable. Did you guys ever watch Game of Thrones, The Red Wedding, where they invited everyone, the Starks, to a wedding, and then so they're unsuspecting. Then they closed all the doors and massacred everyone. We kind of did the Red Wedding. We, for generations, were mad at the Japanese because we accused them of doing the same thing to start World War II with us. We said we were in negotiations with them, and they attacked without even declaring war. Yeah, that's what we did. We didn't declare war in Iran. We didn't give them notice. And the idea was it would just, Iran regime would fall apart. That didn't happen, and they did not have a plan B. As we see, they're making shit up as they go along. And yeah, the Zionists, they've been working on this for a long time, and they finally got a president that they could bend his will. And I don't know, I think part of this might be age. Trump is he turns 80 this year. I think he's getting a little dementia. He's definitely kind of mentally off if you read him. He doesn't seem quite right. And he probably has delusions of grandeur. He's a narcissist. And ever since he almost got assassinated, I think people told him like he's God's special servant. He's God's right-hand man. And so Trump thinks he's just going to change every regime in the world he doesn't like, just totally abandon his promises. He surrounds himself with yes men. He doesn't like to hear anyone that disagrees with him. So yeah, it's a big fucking disaster right now. Big fucking disaster. And it was not a good thing, but this is where we are. All right. I think I got another super chat here. We talked about Loomer. The Necro Dancer, $10. Imagine dogs playing poker cards. Yeah, I like that. What dog breeds would you attribute to USA, Russia, China, and Iran, Europe, and Canada, Israel? Who has the best hand? Who's the top dog? Let's see. Russia, I would. They would be like a pit bull. The USA, I don't know. It wouldn't be a poodle. They're not very. Poodles are smart. They're like a wiener dog. The United States is like the little dachshund. So yeah. Right now, who's the top dog? I would say right now, based on the failures of the U.S. military and this little excursion with Iran, I would say China is a top dog right now. That's another thing that's bad with this war. It's kind of exposed our military as kind of questionable. We always thought we're so much more powerful than anyone else on the earth. I'm like, really? Well, we used to be, but I don't know anymore. And we kind of we set up our army for, a 20th century war, but we're in the 21st century. And I will stand by this. I think the Iranians have better missile technology and drone technology than we have. Now, we are obviously better in the Navy and Air Force. But when it comes to, I think really what's driving the wars now are air defense, missiles, and drones. And we started the drone technology with the Reaper, but they're very expensive and big. Iran took it to a different direction. And they got these Shahed drones. They're fairly cheap and small, but they can make thousands of them easily, tens of thousands. And Russia actually went to Iran when they started a war with Ukraine. And they're like, what the hell? We need help. They went to Iran. Can you help us with the drone technology? And Iran did. And the Russians took the Shahed drone and they modified it and they made their own production. Iran, you have to understand them. People say they're allies with Russia and China, but not really. I mean, they're friendly with them, but they don't accept much help from these countries. Russia has offered, military help in China before the war, but Iran's always said no because they want to be self-sufficient. And they're pretty sophisticated people, and they're not Arabs or Persians, and they're fairly intelligent. And they have made a lot of progress in missile and drone technology, which we're seeing. Their missiles are pretty damn good. They're accurate, and the drones are, I think, state of the art. I think if I had to say, of all the countries in the world who's top dog with drone technology, Iran. And missile technology, I don't know, either Russia or Iran or China. They have hypersonic missiles. We do not. We're still working on it. Now, if you're talking Navy, no one can touch our Navy, although China's getting bigger. So Air Force, we're still number one in that. But I think the Air Force is almost a dated concept. It is. Why have fighter planes when you can use drones? There's really no need to have a human in a plane anymore for war. I don't think. So I think they are a little better. Tucker explains her frustrations here. This is a rumble from Rojas. Thanks, Rojas. I think I had this in prep. We'll just go ahead and watch this. Yeah, Tucker does explain this well, and he got my sentiments anyway.
The only people who support this war are those born between 1946 and 1964 who watch a lot of Fox News. That's it. I'm not attacking them. By the way,
I was born 1963. So I'm, again, just on the cutoff. I do not support the war. I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch TV. I get my news on the internet. But
they're Americans. They're my equals as Americans. I love a lot of them. But their perspective on the U.S. and the world is very different from everyone else's. Very, very different. And so they're not the ones who got Donald Trump elected, actually. The people who got Donald Trump elected are the people who hadn't voted for Republicans before or even voted at all.
That's true. Trump built a coalition of not just Republicans, but a lot of independents and a lot of younger people. And he is throwing that away now. Of course, he's not going to run again, but he's damaging the Republican Party.
Before. And they're like Joe Rogan listeners, or people who use nicotine pouches.
Or Tucker Carlson listeners.
They're Hispanic voters. They're young black men. They're non-traditional Republican voters who voted for Trump because he promised not to keep doing the same thing. And one of the things he promised not to do again was to hand operational authority over to Benjamin Netanyahu, as other presidents have. We don't want any more of that. Why would we? And we're not going to make...
Yeah, that is humiliating. And that's come out that we've given power to Israel to control us. That has to change. We fundamentally got to change that in America. Radically, our government. No, if you're taking foreign money, yeah, APAC is foreign money. I'm not going to play that fucking little game of dual citizen just because, I'm also an American citizen. Yeah, fuck off. You're representing Israel. I don't want any foreign country either directly or playing that little game that they do. Fuck off. It doesn't fool us. It's Israel controlling our politicians. I don't want that. And I have nothing against Israel per se. I don't want French to do that. I don't want Britain to do that. I don't want Russia or China. And that should just be clear. But we have politicians like Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton that I consider at this point treason. They're taking money from a foreign country, and that's what they support.
Mark Levin or Ben Shapiro, who have almost no organic support in the media world. Like, no one really watches them. We're not.
Right. They're both Jewish, and they have their loyalties to their ethno-state. And it's very clear.
Not going to hand control of our foreign policy over to people like that who don't know anything and who don't have America's interests at heart or even in mind. So breaking faith with those people, those voters, the ones who actually got Trump elected and whose coalition promised a new day in American politics, that's a big deal. It's a betrayal on the level that I don't think people who aren't in those groups can understand. Like, this is heartbreaking.
It is. And I'm glad that Tucker said that, because a lot of us feel this way. It is heartbreaking. So many people fought so hard for Trump. They took some people took a lot of sacrifices. Ashley Babbitt lost her life for Trump. People went to jail for Trump. People were deplatformed for Trump. People would do anything for Trump because they really believed his message. They really believed that he was going to drain the deep state, that he would put our interests first for the first time. Like in years, decades, a president actually care about American citizens. Our politicians don't give a fuck about American citizens. We see this all the time. Like Tom Cotton, he's a senator from Arkansas. Fuck him. He has like a house here just to claim residency. He never comes to Arkansas. He lives in Virginia. all he talks about is Israel. He doesn't ever give a fuck about Arkansas. That's not the way it's supposed to run. The way the Constitution, the founders set it up, is we send people from our states to represent our state. Tom Cotton represents Israel, not Arkansas. And that's because he's being paid by them or indirectly through APAC. That has to stop. 100% that has to stop. A lot of these politicians aren't being just paid by them. I think they're being blackmailed too. Hi, Lindsey Graham. Let's just say that. No, I'm not saying they have blackmail material of Lindsey Graham with an underage girl. I'm not saying that. I'm saying something else. So, yeah, I have no doubt there's something going on there.
And by the way, a lot of these people really like Trump. They like his style. They think he's hilarious. He's brave. You know, he's just like they like him. And to see this is, it's so wounding. It hurts.
It doesn't seem the same person. And that's why I don't know if he has a mental issue because of age and dementia, or being shot really changed him psychologically. I'm not sure, but he's not the same guy.
You know, I've got a bunch who work for me. I'm related to some, they're all Trump voters. And I talked to them in the last 24 hours. Boy, they're upset. They're not just mad. Like, I hate Israel. That's not the impulse. They're definitely starting to hate Israel. Why wouldn't they? Our relationship with Israel is hurting us gravely. It's getting Americans killed. So they're mad, but it's more than mad. I can't believe he did this to us. I feel just so depressed about it.
It's a betrayal, and being betrayed is worse than, okay, if the enemy goes after you, you know that, but to be betrayed has to be the worst. And I think, I'm glad Tucker said that, because he articulated, I think, what a lot of us are feeling, because I really love Trump. I supported him even when he would do stupid things. I supported him because I thought overall he was good. And it's because it kind of reflects on you. It's like if you're a boss and you hire someone, you really believe in them. Maybe other people don't believe in him. They say, oh, this guy has character issues. But you're like, I'm going to take a chance on this guy because I really believe in him. And you tell the guy, I really believe in you. A lot of people don't support you. I do, though. And I'm going on a limb with you, right? Okay, because a lot of people don't like you, but I'm going to hire you because even though you've had troubles in the past, you've told me you reformed. I think I've seen it. I think you can do great things. So I'm going to go out on a limb, even though this could damage me. I'm going to support you. I'm going to hire you. I'm going to have your back. And then it'd be like you hire that person, and then he turns around and stabs you in the back. It's just bitter. That's what Trump did to us. He stabbed us in the back. And it is bad. Necrodancer, thank you. Necrodancer, you're so generous. I do appreciate that. They attempted to tuck Tucker under the rug, but he found a magic carpet. Yeah, magic carpet being on X. I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder over, sideways and under on a magic carpet ride, a whole new world, a fantastic point of view. Yeah, there is some magic with there and what Tucker's doing and how people have been able to get around the gatekeepers. I think our time is short, though. I think they're going to, especially if the Democrats win in 2028, they're going to shut down everything. And that's why I hope not. But I'm just telling you all that if the Democrats win in 2028, people like me, and not just me, but a lot of people that are on the right are just going to be straight banned from social media. They'll probably take over X. So this is my time. I'm taking the advantage of it. Dolpha Domania 4762. Think about how much damage Trump betrayal has done for future elections. The left was on the ropes, but now they have leverage. Yeah, the Democratic Party is a joke. And all Trump had to do, was maintain his promises. I mean, just go through an alternate reality where Trump took over again this term, and he started to implement everything he campaigned for. within reason. I know sometimes Congress may have pushed him back on some things, but let's just imagine that. All right, on day one, he says to Ukraine, we're out of this war. I'm going to focus on America. We can't keep sending you money. You and Russia have to work it out. I am out. We are out of this war. Done. Boy, it would have been huge. The neocons would have screamed bloody murder, and that would be it. And what if he reached out to Russia and say, hey, Russia, we don't find you to be necessarily an enemy. As long as you don't attack Europe or don't attack us, why can't we be friends and trade? And improve those relations, remove sanctions, help the economy, the world economy. Go to Iran and say, hey, Iran, you've changed. You're not the mullahs in 1979. Women, they don't have to wear the hijab. Again, we don't want your people over here, but why have sanctions? You're willing to trade oil with us. We're willing to trade oil with you. We're willing to be peaceful with you, Iran, and the rest of the Middle East. And Israel, hey, we're happy to treat you like any other country, but we're not going to be your sugar daddy anymore, right? Your little bitch, Ben Shapiro, says that Israel doesn't even need America. Oh, they're independent. Okay, well, you guys can be independent. And you guys got to just learn how to play well with the rest of the neighbors and just act normal. I mean, don't have these weird delusions of trying to bring back your Antichrist or Messiah or whatever you call it. Just live, right? So do that on foreign policy. And what if he started a plan to get rid of all the illegals? Like if you hire an illegal, you lose your business. I mean, there's so many things he could have done on that aspect of it. Just imagine what he could have done. He'd be the most popular president in history right now. But instead, he decided to go down with these, abandon all his positions. And now he is extremely unpopular, very unpopular president. He's a loser. Loser, Trump. And Trump hates to be called a loser. So, loser. But that's what he is right now. And it's just really sad, the situation there we see there. All right. Let's see here. And so we're talking about how Italy said, hey, we're not with Trump. We don't know what the fuck this weirdo's doing. But supposedly, this is Sprinter Press, pretty reliable. Axios, mainstream. They're citing 3 high-ranking officials from the G7 group. So 3 people in the G7 group anonymously told the press that all G7 leaders demand that Trump immediately end the war against Iran. So he's got really no support from Europe or foreign support for the war. I mean, who supports us in this war except Israel? And they're the one that called for it. Every other country is Canada, Britain, France. They're all opposed to it. Italy publicly has gone out opposed to it. So this is an unpopular war. And for good reason, there was no need to have this war. It was just simply for Israel's dream of building, having the greater Israel and maybe, bring back the Antichrist or whatever they're trying to do. And sadly, I mentioned on this, I said yesterday, this tanker got shot down by the Iraqi militia that were Shias in Iraq, not Iran. And sadly, all 6 crew members were killed. So that's a sad loss. And unfortunately, I believe the casualty count is just going to keep increasing because Trump, instead of pulling out, he seems to be trying to do what LBJ did and escalating. We're going to break their backs. And it's not really working with his popularity. And we got polling number now. Trump was polling at 29%, the lowest across both terms. So this is pretty damn low. 29% approval rating. And again, it didn't have to be this way, but Trump decided to go this way. So this is what it is here. And he's got his Secretary of Defense, or War, I'm sorry, who's a clown. And let me just take a listen. Pete Hegseth. Saturday Night Live did a great parody of it too. I retweeted. I won't show it on here because there could be copyright, but it's hilarious. All right, here we go. Let's listen to our brilliant Department of War commentator.
The only thing prohibiting transit in the Straits right now is Iran shooting at shipping. It is open for transit should Iran not do that. The only
Okay, so it's open for transit, except for them shooting missiles and drones at it. Otherwise, it's open. No shit. So that's our Secretary of Defense. Yeah, it's that's like saying, you know, it's okay to have your kids. The only reason you can't have your kids play on the highway is because there's cars that drive fast on the highway. Otherwise, you can play on the highway. Well, okay. So yeah, that is Pete Hegseth. He is such a joke, and he's just a gift that keeps giving. And this was interesting today because Pete Hegseth, he's insecure, so he tries this whole tough guy act. Oh, I'm macho, I'm kick ass. You know, he's doing that, and it comes across like just cringe. It's not authentic. All right, here he is. Let's listen to this. This is a dual videos that he was saying the Iranian leaders are cowards, and they're like rats that hide out in tunnels or underground. And then on the left, you'll see Pete say that, and on the right, just today or yesterday, the Iranian leadership, not the supreme leader, because he doesn't really run the government, and rumors are he was injured, but the foreign minister and the president, they're all out with the crowds, something that Trump would never do like this. Can you imagine just walking along among the crowds?
Iran's leadership is in no better shape. Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground, cowering. That's what rats
There's a Iranian president right now.
do.
See, a lot of people don't understand that they don't have a dictatorship in Iran. They actually have a voting and democracy in a sense. They do have a supreme leader that it's kind of like the king of England. He has a little more power. He can issue religious decrees, like it's a fatwa is prohibited to make nuclear weapons, right? But he doesn't really do much. The supreme leader mostly leads the prayers. They do have a president.
We know the new so-called not so supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. He put out a statement yesterday, a weak one, actually, but there was no voice and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Apparently killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. Iran has plenty.
I don't believe that. I don't believe they killed tens of thousands. I think that's pure American propaganda, Israeli propaganda bullshit. I don't believe that for a second.
Of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why a written statement?
So how can this, if the Iranian government, so while Pete Hegseth, Greasy Pete, is saying this, literally the president of Iran, it doesn't even look like he has security. I assume he does, but he's just walking around the streets, talking to people, taking selfies with people. Why shouldn't he be killed about the protest? You know, the protesters, shouldn't they be killing him? Or shouldn't the people hate their government? They want to kill him. He's just out there joking with everyone, taking selfies. Pete Hegseth, he won't get his fucking ass out in public. You think he would go out in public and start taking selfies? People, fuck no. In fact, our government officials, they're all in bunkers or military bases. Bunch of fucking cowards. The Iranian leaders are out on the streets.
I think you know why. His father, dead. He's scared. He's injured. He's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? Iran may not even know.
Well, I think they do know. They have a foreign minister, and they're coordinating well. And who's in charge of America? Is it President Trump or is it Netanyahu? I don't know. And that even brings up a thing: is Netanyahu even alive? There's some rumors he was hit and killed. I don't know. That's just a rumor. But he hasn't been seen for a while. And the video they did put out with him was AI because he had 6 fingers. So that is it. The Democrat leader, one of the senators from Delaware, and I'm not a big fan of Democrats, but he has to say, he has some comments to make.
I have great sympathy for our soldiers and our military leaders. They are being given directions by a senile old man who is losing his mind.
Senile old man who's losing his mind. It sounds like Biden. I mean, why are we having these old guys? But it does. If you read his Truth social posts, they're deranged.
And so it's no surprise that this war is going horribly.
And he gets the intelligence reports. The war is going horribly for America. It was pretty crazy there. And I got this. I try to get these because I try to screen AI videos that are fake, but I think this one is real. RT's pretty legit. This is Tel Aviv tonight. More missiles are hitting Tel Aviv. Again, it's hard to get videos out of Israel because if you take a video on your phone in Israel of a rocket attack or the aftermath, you could go to jail for a couple of years. The same with the Gulf states. So they're trying to censor information the best that they can have. I wanted to show you, and again, I wouldn't want to live in Iran. I wouldn't want to live in a Muslim country, but I think everyone's thinking like the Fox boomers of Iran being in 1979, where all the women have to be covered. And this was in 2025. Someone went to Iran at a mall, and I'm not going to play the music. I don't want copyright problems. But this is what it looks like in Iran right now. As you notice, the women, some are covered up, but many are not. Like this girl's a blonde girl. As you can see, they look white, and many of the Persians, they are white. I mean, these malls are probably safer than ours. This is in November of 2025, so it wasn't that long ago. I think the demographics are a little better. You're probably not as likely to get robbed. And again, this was in a mall in Iran, footage that was taken. So it's a little different than, what the Fox News boomers really think it's is, but that's it. All right, something I wanted to warn you guys about, and we got to watch out for. There was an attack on a synagogue in America, and they started to hype it up a lot, and then it kind of died down because it was the Muslim that did it. It wasn't a white guy. But why we got to be careful, and because this happened in Australia, but let's watch this.
Thankful to law enforcement, but asking the average citizen out there, if you have a friend, a colleague, coworkers who are using anti-Semitism in their daily life and feel like it's just normal, please call that out wherever you see it.
So an anti-Semitism and their definition is if you don't believe in the Jewish ethno state, that's anti-Semitic. If you say, hey, I don't think maybe the Israel should slaughter 75,000, 100,000 people in Gaza, that's anti-Semitic. Literally. And so that definition is so broad because most people are like, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't care. I don't hate individual Jewish people. That's how I consider myself. I really don't care if someone's Jewish. Like I always use a Jewish dentist example. Has a home, lives a good life, friendly to everyone. I don't have a hate for that. I don't have a hate for any race if they're like that. But I do not support these people that try to censor Americans, that have their groups try to bring in the third world into our homes and our homeland. And if we try to object to that, bringing all these people in, we're a Nazi, xenophobes. And then we're like, how about we bring them into your homeland, Israel? You're so anti-Semitic. Oh, why must we suffer? People are tired of that. We really are. And the playbook they're doing here, and this kind of fizzled out, but in Australia, they had a Muslim shoot up a bunch of Jews, and the prime minister literally didn't say anything about Muslims, or maybe we should limit Muslim immigration. No. The problems are white supremacists. And they have a draconian now censorship that you can't even criticize Jews in Israel. And that definitely is the goal here, the ADL. They would like to remove the First Amendment. And if you said anything critical about Israel, they would love to throw you in prison for that. That is the goal. And that is what they're working on right now. So you guys need to be aware of that, but that is their game plan. I'm giving away their game plan, although it's not that secret, but that is what they're going to do now. Let's see here. I'll just scroll down and make sure I got all the super chats. See, the thing with me is I don't have a staff, so you don't have to worry about it. Imagine Tucker Carlson singing, this is Necro Dancer 009. Hey, Necro, I really appreciate this. I know Necro, he's on my Substack. He's a funny guy. I could show you the world from Disney's Aladdin Magic Carpet Ride. Think about it. That would be funny, Necro. Let me scroll down here. Would appreciate a suggestion of websites that track APAC donations, both federal and state levels. I think if you Google or go maybe on Yandex, Google may censor it. I use Yandex, Yandex as a search tool. It's Russian, ironically, but there's less censorship. APAC tracker, and they track everyone that takes foreign money. By the way, that's my new red line in future elections. If you take a fucking dime from APAC or any other foreign country, fuck off. I'm not voting for you. That's my new, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, I'm not voting for you. That's a red line. And I'm not voting for any Trump officials that supported this war on Iran. And JD Vance is trying to play this coy because he's trying to put out leaks that he didn't really support it. I'm not really sure about him now. I know a lot of you guys hate JD Vance. I want to give him a benefit of the doubt because he supposedly was opposed to this. I'm just disappointed if he was opposed to this, he didn't come out and say, and no, Trump can't fire him. Trump's not his boss. It's constitutionally a vice president is a separate thing. And I would have liked him to come out and oppose that. So that was it. All right. Let's see here. Let's another Tucker clip. I like Tucker. I heard a rumor Tucker may run. Wouldn't it be cool? A ticket, Tucker and Massey for 2028. Now that I would get excited about. I would definitely. Hopefully they wouldn't betray us. I would really support that ticket. Would that be your? What are your guys' dream ticket? That's reasonable, right? That is a politician. I would love Tucker Massey. I'm not going to vote for fucking Rubio. So you Republicans, I know the donor class is trying to get Rubio on. Yeah, fuck off. I'm not voting for him. And neither are most people. So you're going to lose with him. I guarantee you. All right. Let's take a look at Tucker here.
People who tried to bully Charlie Kirk into kicking me off stage. Mm-hmm. He's a political enforcer. And you had an exchange with him.
Yeah,
Can you
I did.
Describe it?
Yeah, I asked him to his face. I said, Charlie was being called, since we're having a hearing on anti-Semitism, Charlie Kirk was being called an anti-Semite.
I know.
And I asked him to his face, Seth Dillon, I said,
Seth Dillon owns Babylon Bee.
Do you condemn that he was being called an anti-Semite? I mean, Charlie wasn't an anti-Semite.
He was not.
Well, again, they've changed the definition of anti-Semite. Anti-Semite is not if you hate Jews, if Jews hate you. That's what an anti-Semite is.
And he got a little uncomfortable.
And neither am I. And neither are you.
Neither am I.
These are slanders.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Charlie was called an anti-Semite a lot.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about it a lot. I know a lot about this topic. I never talk about it, but I know a lot about it because I was at the center of it because the debate was, should he cancel me?
Yes.
In my speech this December. And he wouldn't. And one of his last texts we've ever seen was about this exact question. So, and Seth Dillon was one of the thugs trying to force Charlie.
You know that for a fact?
Of course.
Yeah, it's sad. It's like a mafia. They try to intimidate people through threats and bribes to support their ethno state. And again, Charlie Kirk didn't hate Israel. He's just like, why do we have to put Israel first? But if you don't put Israel first and you're a slave like Tom Cotton or Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham, they're going to call you an anti-Semite and do what they can to destroy you. We got to fucking purge these people out. Just purge them out. We can't tolerate this anymore. This isn't America, but this is what they're doing. And I think we do miss Charlie Kirk. I didn't know him that well. I didn't follow him that well. Ironically, Charlie Kirk follows me on X. He maybe whoever took over the account took me off, but he followed me. Charlie Kirk knew me. I have no doubt Charlie Kirk knew RAMZPAUL. I always say that I'm the most famous person that's not famous. It's like people in the know RAMZPAUL, and including Tucker, by the way. But Charlie Kirk followed me, and he was moving in the right direction. I know a lot of people, they start kind of neoconish and they move, they start to understand. Megyn Kelly, I mean, she's getting red pill in real terms, right? She's starting to see things. And so we got to be okay with people, understand people sometimes go through that journey. It's difficult. And that's Charlie Kirk, I think, was going through that journey because he was saying some pretty base stuff. And I think Charlie Kirk was talking, he always talked to President Trump. And I have to wonder if Charlie Kirk was not assassinated, would we be in a war with Iran right now? And I mean that. We may not. Charlie might have been able to talk Trump off the ledge along with J.D. Vance. But who knows? We'll never know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so we're trying to force Charlie to cancel me and other things. It's not about me. I just happened to be the guy that they were very, very focused on. But so Seth Dillon is asked by you, would you condemn the attacks on Charlie Kirk as an anti-Semite?
Yeah. And he said, yeah, Charlie wasn't an anti-Semite. I said, I agree. Thank you for saying that publicly. And then I asked him about the Hamptons. I said, we'll just go there. I mean, we're already going there, so let's just go there. So what happened at the Hamptons?
And that was a meeting that Charlie had with, among many others, Seth Dillon. Mm-hmm. I think Bill Ackman was there. I think he paid for it. I could be wrong here. I'm no expert.
So that's kind of the inside baseball, what was going behind the scenes with Charlie Kirk and the whole establishment. His donors, a lot of his Jewish donors, were pushing back on Charlie because Charlie was like, and Charlie, I guess, said, well, okay, I'm not going to change my position. That's brave of Charlie. I got to give him that more than I think his wife would do. But I would hope I would do that. And Charlie was, so that was good. So I give respect for Charlie with that. And I think we are missing Charlie. I think he would have helped a lot to keep us out of this war. All right. The economic impact. And I had these links before Trump escalated the oil problem. Obviously, this whole thing is going to cause a lot of, especially now Trump has come out and said this is going to be a long war for the first time. Although this is Friday, on Saturday, Trump may have a whole different story. Trump is not very consistent, so I don't know. You can take what he says. He goes on saying this isn't a war, it's an excursion. It's going to be quick. We've already won. Iran has surrendered to now it's a long war. But some of the economic impact, major airlines cancel over 1,000 flights as oil prices soar with cuts expected for months. So airlines tickets are going to be a lot more expensive. And there's a lot of flights are going to be cut because of the oil crisis that looks like it's just going to get worse now based on Trump's actions. And Bay Area drivers paying up to $150 to fill up as Northern California suffers state's highest gas prices. Wow. $7.19 for regular. Now, luckily, I live in a state where the gas is around the cheapest. Yesterday, I paid $2.99 a gallon. So we're not California, but it's gone up here. It was like $2.40. But man, California, they're going to get nailed. And during this whole time, and this is kind of related, the economy is not doing that well, despite what Trump has said. And I think with the oil prices going up, it's just going to get worse. Fourth quarter GDP growth in the U.S. has been revised downward from 1.4% to 0.7%. So the economy is not that good at all. And that is the thing here. Let me just go through, see if I have any other super chats. Rowhouse, Ted Cruz is proving Christianity is a LARP. Oh, thank you, Rowhouse. I was actually had this in prep. So Rowhouse actually sent me, hey, thank you, helping me out.
Although it is being used online in a way that is meant to say, screw you, Jew. It is being used in a context very directly to say, I hate Jews, and that's almost an online code word. Christ is king is, I hate the Jew.
Is that your view, or why do you say that?
Because you see the people who are saying it, and they're saying it in that context. They're saying Jews are horrible, good, like they're attacking Jews, and they end with Christ is king to make it sound like somehow there's a biblical basis for attacking Jews. Look, Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah, he was a Jew, but he was a Messiah, and the apostles, most of them were Jews, but Jesus made it clear you had to turn away from the sacrificial Judaism, that he was the sacrifice.
And by the way, the twisted theology that says Jews are Christ killers, and that's been used to justify anti-Semitism, to justify persecution and murder. Look, as I read the Gospels, Jesus went to the cross willingly. He made the choice to go to the cross, and it was not the Jews who killed Jesus. It was me. It was you. Look, Jesus died for our sins because man is fallen, and the wages of sin is death. And Jesus took on the punishment that you deserve and I deserve so that we could be covered in his blood and receive salvation, not through works, not through what we do, but through the gift of God.
Okay. So do you believe, Ted Cruz, that Jews can get to heaven by rejecting Christ? This is the key question. Because Christ said, for I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto me. No man cometh to the Father except through me. See, there's a reason I went to a Christian Bible school in first, second, and third grade. Comes back. There's a reason for it. Now's the reason for it. It's stuck in my head. I had to memorize all these verses. So Ted Cruz says you shouldn't say Christ is king because it's anti-Semitic. So these people are heretics because they don't believe in the saving power of Jesus Christ for all people, including Jews. And saying Christ is king is not anti-Semitic because it's available to Jews too, by the way. Right? Jews can come to Christ. That is the thing. Now, if you say that in Israel, you'll probably get arrested. Ironically, and we support Israel. So, Ted Cruz worships more Jews than he does Christ. And so does like Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham. I stand by them. They're really crazy people. All right. Let's listen a little bit more about these nuts and what they believe. Because this war is like a religious fanatic war. And I'm not talking about the Iranians. It's like our side, the religious fanatics on both the Christian Zionists and some of the Jews. And by the way, I'm Protestant myself. I'm not against Protestants. I'm not against evangelicals. Not all Protestants and evangelicals believe that you need to do something as a government to help hurry to bring Jesus back. That is a heresy. That's in God's time. We're supposed to preach the gospel and do good works. We shouldn't have this idea we need to murder schoolgirls. It's sad to have to do that, but we need to do that to bring back Jesus. That's not the gospel. And I think most evangelicals and Protestants would reject that as horrific. So I want to make that clear. So it's just not Catholics. So don't make this a Catholic versus Protestants. This is a weird sect of Protestantism that believes that somehow we must do things to help Jesus to come back, including start wars and killing people. That is sinful. That's satanic.
biblical. What are they going to, what's scary, Tucker, is these people like Paula White and Ted Cruz and Dan Patrick, they believe that there will be, the Dome of the Rock will be torn down and they will rebuild that third temple. They're saying it now. Look at Pete Hegseth. There will be a rebuilding of this temple.
Oh, I know.
It is heretical and it is anti-Christian.
Right, because Christ said very clearly, in fact, Christ told his audience, he said, see that temple there, the Judaism, the Pharisees are doing their sacrifice. What they do, they sacrifice the lambs to cover the sins of the people. And Jesus said, I am the lamb now. I'm the Lamb of God. You probably heard that expression, meaning will be the sacrifice. So you have faith in me. There's no need to sacrifice lambs or oxen anymore in the temple. In fact, I am the temple. That's what Jesus said. And he said that temple will soon be torn down. And Jesus was right. 40 years later, that temple was torn down by the Romans. So as a Christian, we believe in the temple. The temple is Jesus Christ. And we believe in a chosen people. As Peter said, the chosen people are now those who believe in Jesus Christ. And by the way, chosen didn't mean people that Jews were better than everyone else. That's a lie. Chosen was just that God chose the Jewish people, the ethnicity through the line of David to bring Jesus Christ, the Messiah. In general, the Jews in Israel rejected their Messiah, which has consequences because the Pharisee says, yeah, we want him, crucify him, and let his blood be on us and our children. That's in the Bible. That's what the Jews said. And I believe that's what happened. That's why they have such a hatred for Jesus. But that's what was said in the Bible. But the Christian belief, and including Jews can be Christians. Early Christians were mostly Jewish. And so that is the theology. So for a Christian to believe we need to build the third temple, it's like, what are you talking about? That is satanic. And if the third temple is built, that will be for the Antichrist, not the Christ.
I know that.
Because they're going to bring in the animal sacrifices again. And the most anti-Semitic thing that they believe is that 2/3 of the Jews are going to be slaughtered. That's what these people believe. They're just manipulating them and using them. They don't really care.
Oh, everything you've said is true.
Yeah, they have a weird view of the end times. It's and I'm not going to get into it, and they all have a little bit different views, but the idea of we're in the end times, and before Jesus comes back, we have to have the temple built, the third temple on what's now the Dome of the Rock, and they got to sacrifice a red heifer. And a lot of these nuts are trying to create a red heifer from Texas, send it to Israel so they can sacrifice a poor animal to their demon god or whatever. And then that will bring in the Antichrist. And then you'll have the Battle of Armageddon, and 2/3 of all humanity will die or whatever. And Jesus will come back and rapture people. Some people believe that. And then you have the tribulation, a horrific time, and then Jesus will establish his kingdom on earth or something like that. That's, it's just, and again, this show is not a Bible show teaching theology, but it's crazy. It's not right. That's not what the Bible teaches. And as Christians, we do believe that Christ will return, but it's on Christ's term. It's on his timetable, not us, God's timetable. And we are not God, and it's crazy. Diplomat for Western kind. Paul, you have said we don't have the equivalent term like the Jews do to classify harm against us like anti-Semitism, but we do. It's anti-whiteism. It's defined as the thoughts, behavior, actions, policies hostile to white people. Thank you, diplomat. Yeah, anti-whiteism. That's a good term. Thank you. I do. I've said anti-white. I think saying anti-white is better than saying, oh, that's just racist against white people. Don't do that. Say anti-white. So anti-whiteism, I agree. I'm on board with that term. Good term. I do support that. Randall Flagg, it is your insane governor, Sarah Huckabee. Yes, she's a daughter of that nut in Israel, our ambassador to Israel. Flies to Israel on state taxpayer dime. Then she says she's going to invest part of the state pension fund in a tiny country 8,000 miles away. This madness has to end. Yeah, it's just really crazy. Sadly, there's a lot of Christian Zionists down here that would support it. That heresy, again, I don't care so much what people believe in their personal religion, and my show's not about religious beliefs, but when it impacts society and you start to do your death cult, yeah, I got to talk about it, and that is crazy. Necro Dancer, again, thank you. For me, it's McChicken, the best fast food sandwich. I even asked for extra McChicken sauce packets, and the staff was so friendly. I'm more than willing to oblige. Yeah, if you ask for more sauce, they will give it to you at a McDonald's. And McChicken is good. I like a hamburger more, but Sasha is a big chicken eater. I'm more of a meat eater, a beef eater. But yeah, I do like chicken, though. Thank you for that, though. Here we go. Please list your top 3 favorite sandwiches. That may include burgers, submarines, gyros. What condiments are the most based and tasty? I do like a good hamburger. Is delicious. I do like that. I like an Italian submarine sandwich. That's good. And I do like a chicken sandwich. They're pretty good. Sometimes I get in the mood for a filet-o-fish sandwich at McDonald's. Yeah, you get me hungry. And condiments, I like ketchup on my fries. I do like ketchup. So that is the thing. And what's nice about good old America versus Europe, when you're in Europe, you have to pay for your ketchup packets. They don't just give them to you. It's not a big deal, but it still pisses me off a little bit. Yeah, America, fuck yeah, we get free ketchup. So that was the thing there. All right. Here's the thing. Well, Netanyahu, he was talking about the reason for the war is to try to bring back the Messiah. So we got a lot of crazy stuff going on. Here's the thing that's got the speculation, because there was a rumor that Netanyahu was killed in a strike or seriously injured. I don't necessarily believe it. I'm just throwing it out there because in wartime you get a lot of bullshit propaganda. But he hasn't been seen, and they did a recent video of him, and he had 6 fingers in the so this was AI generated, but that doesn't mean he's dead. That doesn't mean he's dead. So he isn't. I'm just saying that there's rumors going on about that. I doubt he would be dead, because I doubt he would stay in Israel. He probably flees out of Israel in this plane elsewhere. But that's my opinion. But who knows? Who knows? I don't trust our government very much. All right, getting back to MAGA and what could happen in the political realm. This is being leaked by Political, probably leaked by Vance himself. Vance already attempting to separate himself from the decision to start a war with Iran. No doubt in my mind, Vance or his staff is leaking this, probably. He's been out of public eye and remarkably quiet on social media as of late. Yeah, Vance has not cheerleaded this whole effort with Trump, really, that I've seen. He's been very quiet about it. And Political says Vance is skeptical, is worried about success, and just opposes the war in Iran, a senior Trump official said. So supposedly Vance is opposed to the war. I wish Vance would come out and speak about it. Again, he does not work for the president. It's not being disloyal. Constitution. A lot of people don't understand that the vice president does not work for the president. It's a separate office. I would love Vance to come out and oppose it. It makes him look weak by not coming out. Because if this thing goes south, which it looks like it has, everyone's going to come out and say, I didn't want it. Fuck, I had nothing to do with it. He did it. It's his fault. They're going to throw people under the bus. So, yeah, that definitely is the thing. Okay, so I guess that's kind of let me just see here, the big news of the day. Right, and I just want to make sure I got everything. And thank you for all your support tonight, guys. I really do appreciate that. I'm just scrolling down right now. Oh, now my interface got messed up. It's not scrolling down very good. Here we go. All right. I think I got everything. So as a recap, I think the big stories we'll have to watch, and Trump deliberately, because Trump is really worried about the market. He didn't release information that we attacked that island where Iran uses to export oil. So it looks like Iran won't be able to export oil. That's going to piss off China and make everything more expensive. Looks like we're sending Marines to the Middle East probably to try to take that island. That will be probably a disaster. 5 more of our planes were destroyed at the base by Iranian drones. And there doesn't seem to be an end to this war. And it's been reported that Trump said this will be a long war after saying it wouldn't be. So we will see what happens over the weekend. Let's pray for peace and somehow get out of this mess. But I don't see a way out now because Trump, his ego is invested with this, just like LBJ. And unless Trump is removed, I don't see a good outcome. So we will have to see. So guys, thank you for spending your Friday evening with me. It's always great to be with you. I really do appreciate you. And thank you all for your support. And unless something major happens, but I will be back on Monday. So talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.